All right. Championship Sunday is over. The Super Bowl is set. Um, you know, I already did a little bit on the NFC game. You know, beyond the way the game ended, which you know, like say what you want, the call itself was right. The fact that it was an outlier of how the game was officiated, the entire rest of the game is the problem. Um, but you know, like there was there was no way the NFC result was going to make me happy today. But I don't know. I don't care if it sounds like sour grapes. There's no fucking way this Tampa thing is legit. It's just not. You're telling me this team that could only beat one team with a winning record all season suddenly now is in the Super Bowl. I mean, and now they've beaten two in a row, but I don't buy it. Um, but you know, again, it's like Packers were fucking horrible today. Don't get me wrong, but their secondary was awful. They're just getting their first touchdown completely mistimes his jump, makes it an easy touchdown. Brady hits that one deep ball in the middle of the field. Another terrible play by the secondary. That abomination right before halftime, where they give up the touchdown. That was the play that the Raiders beat the Jets on this year. It was the exact same play. They were just awful. It was kind of ironic to essentially have Green Bay losing in a playoff situation on Hail Mary passes. That was kind of interesting. Um, um, but you know, before the halftime touchdown, there's an intercept. Brady throws an interception. It's right there in the dude's hand. He drops it. Um, you know, you gotta pick those up. It's unbelievable how many interceptions Brady throws that get dropped. Um, and you can't, and right before that, they're throwing an interception. Rodgers is throwing an interception. They had, a couple tries where they got down close and kicked field goals. You know, there's something to be said at this point of like, and he never faces the blame for it. Rodgers is talking about with like playoff failures. Like, if you look at the Aaron Rodgers playoff failures and the playoff losses over the last, basically since they did win the Super Bowl, I mean, it's been like crazy the losses that they've suffered. Um, and Rodgers never gets any of the blame. And I'm not even necessarily saying he should get all the blame for this one today, but you know, like the play that I've seen the replay of a million times now, the play right before they kicked the field goal, chose to kick the field goal late. Rodgers has the whole half of the field open and he doesn't run. Like, he always runs there. This time he didn't. You know, I don't know why, but and then he's throwing the LaFleur under the bus for kicking the field goal. Well, if he had run it on that play right before it, maybe he doesn't score, but maybe he gets it down to the 1 or 2, and then it's a much easier decision to go for it. But that's kind of tradition at this point to have Aaron Rodgers throwing somebody under the bus after a playoff loss. Um, but even before that, you get the 3 straight picks off of Brady, and of course no one's going to ever talk about that now. The fact that Tom Brady threw interceptions on 3 straight possessions in the second half of a conference championship game. but they only scored 6 points. They got the first touchdown where they dropped the 2, and then the other ones they went 3 and out both times, and that was like they could have really taken over the game with Brady just throwing balls up for grabs all over the place. But they didn't like the. And that's on Rodgers. I'm sorry. Like, you know, people will just say, "Oh, well, it was the defense, blowing it for him." You know, he's going to be the MVP, but he's had an unbelievable string of playoff collapses. And he's won playoff games, but then since 2010 they haven't won an NFC Championship game. The only quarterback he's beaten in an NFC Championship game is Caleb Haney, and they've been blown out in some of these games. They weren't really blown out today, but say what you want. It's pretty embarrassing to lose at home in the NFC Championship game to a team that's clearly inferior. And this had the feel of like that signature Aaron Rodgers season. That's why I wasn't even that pissed that like they were maybe going to go to the Super Bowl, because I was like, okay, they're going to go to the Super Bowl. It's like this is his year. In a weak NFC. Okay, so they're going to go to the Super Bowl. But even now, it didn't happen. Like what are the excuses left for Green Bay at this point? Like you've already fired Mike McCarthy. You've overhauled the roster certainly from what they were even 4 or 5 years ago. Like what's the excuse left? I mean, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that many years left, so and I saw or I heard his post game. He sounded like he was on the freaking ledge. So I don't know what his future is, but it kind of felt like this might have been the last shot really for them with Rodgers. I don't know if that's the truth, but I mean, depending on how the NFC North is, they might have a pretty easy run next year too. But we'll see. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play into his 40s. So we're getting close to the end with him. But I don't know. I just can't stand the fact that Brady's in another Super Bowl. It's just insufferable. It's so fucking. He magically he's awful at the end of last year. He goes completely washed up. Then he goes to Tampa Bay, and suddenly they're in the Super Bowl, and it's a home Super Bowl. Like I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. But AFC game, Chiefs. Buffalo got up early 9-0, but after that it was just a fucking rout. Final score didn't look too bad, but it was 38 to what was it, like a 38 to 6 run in there. They just I picked Buffalo. I got both games wrong today. I picked Green Bay and Buffalo. I really thought the Bills were going to keep this thing going for at least one more game, but plus I wasn't sure. I knew Mahomes was playing, but I wasn't exactly sure, how good he'd be. Well, he was obviously just fine, and they just after that little 9-0 start, they just destroyed Buffalo. They gave up 3 points last week. Well, you're not playing Lamar Jackson this time. You're playing Mahomes. And they were just dominant on offense. They just ran all over him, threw all over him. And the Chiefs, I think the big thing was the Chiefs' defense was a lot better than I really thought they'd be. Like, they didn't give Buffalo much of anything. They held them to, 3 field goals? you know, and field goals are not going to get it done if you're playing the Chiefs in Arrowhead. So it was 38-15 before they kind of a couple late scores. Stefon Diggs, not much of a game for Stefon. Um, I think what did he have, 6 for 77, and a lot of that was on like one kind of big one late when it was, they were down, 3 scores. Um, and then it seemed like the whole damn Bills team wanted to get into a fight the whole last few minutes of the game. That wasn't that wasn't very good, but I don't think the Bills are a fluke. I think they'll be back. I think a lot of people will be picking them to probably be back in a AFC title game next year. But I think we saw definitively that the Chiefs were the best team, and I think the Chiefs are definitively the best team in the NFL. But I don't know if that's going to translate into the Super Bowl, because I just don't know if I can believe what I'm even seeing. Because it's kind of just like going into the NFC Championship game. Who's the NFL want, Brady or Rodgers? Well, now it's like, well, who's the NFL want here, Brady or Mahomes? Which storyline is the one that they want to have happen? Do they want it to be, Brady winning number 7? Brady could throw 6 interceptions, no touchdowns, and they could win 3-0 in the Super Bowl, and it would all be about Brady. But you know, is it going to be all about Brady winning number 7 and cementing his goatness and all this shit, or is it going to be the passing of the torch, the official passing of the torch game with with Mahomes beating Brady in a Super Bowl, and officially becoming the face of the NFL, because if you just base it on football, there is not one fucking reason on earth that Tampa Bay should win the Super Bowl against Kansas City. But they might. And, like, I don't know what the line's going to be. I would assume Kansas City is going to be a pretty significant favorite. They've been the best team. They've only lost one game this whole year when they tried. They come out of the better conference. Mahomes is the best player on earth. They're going to have 2 weeks to prepare. This isn't Belichick 2 weeks. This is Andy Reid with 2 weeks. Mahomes has been a little dinged up, but he's got 2 weeks to heal up and get ready. Like there's no reason to think that this won't be the Chiefs winning, and maybe even winning big, if it's just based on what these teams are and what they put on the field. But and the Chiefs beat up Tampa pretty well this year. But I don't trust that this has been such a brazenly manipulated NFL season. I don't trust that the Super Bowl is not going to be manipulated in this way as well. Like, you can say rigged, you can say manipulated, you can say, predetermined, whatever you want to say. Like, I don't know. I don't think any logical football reason exists to tell me that Tampa Bay wins the game, but they might. And I can't pick the game because I just don't know if it's going to be played straight up. And if it is played straight up, I think the Chiefs could win that thing in a rout. But is the NFL, frankly, even that, is the NFL going to allow Tom Brady to get blown out in the Super Bowl? No. So I don't know. I'm just so sick of Brady. I just can't even express how much I am sick of this guy. We should, 20 years, we should be done with this by now. I'll say this, I hope the Chiefs don't drop a bunch of interceptions, because that's what's been going on. It seems like the last couple weeks. Um, you know, I think if the Chiefs, um, if their defense plays pretty well like they did against the Bills now today, that'll help them too. But like I said, I think the Chiefs are by far the best team. I picked the Chiefs to repeat this year. I thought they were the best bet of any team to repeat that I'd seen in a very long time. Like, it's in Tampa Bay, but it's not really a home game because one, they're not gonna, you know, it, I don't know how many people they're gonna have at the game, but it's not gonna be Tampa fans. They're gonna be like, they're letting like healthcare workers show up and stuff like that. But so it's not gonna be it's gonna be essentially, you know, really a neutral site, But you know, I really fucking hate that Brady and Tampa Bay get the home Super Bowl. We didn't get the home Super Bowl 3 years ago. But so I don't know. 2 weeks of Brady Super Bowl hype. I can't believe we have to go through this nightmare again. But nothing will make me happier in 2 weeks than to see Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid hoisting another Lombardi trophy. And, I hope they get it done.